So I just wanted to super quickly throw the I Ching for the video that I'm about to make. And the video is sort of about the yin and yang of upstate, the country versus the city, yin and yang of inspiration versus creation, and then yin and yang of talking to the robot and not talking to the robot, which is a new thing I'm discovering. I'm just gonna throw these. Heads are yang, tails are yin. This will be our sixth. Heads, tails, tails. Fun. Consistent. Yeah, so it says broken, 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 solid, 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 which I believe. Which, let me look up. What is that? All right, so hexagram 12 is a particularly interesting one. Stand still. Hexagram 12, stand still. Contentment cannot be held in the hand, but lives perpetually in the heart. This hexagram symbolizes a time when communication between heaven and earth is blocked, leading to stagnation and a standstill in progress. The natural order is disrupted and the flow of creative energy is impeded. Stand still. Yeah, and there are moments when, as a creative person, you want to express things and you can't, and I think that going back and forth from downstate to the city, from the woods to the hustle and bustle of a busy street corner are different kinds of thinking, but they're both kind of necessary types of thinking, at least for me. And the yin and yang of it, the going back and forth, the balance of them is like my life's work, right? Finding what that balance is. I've been thinking a lot lately about the yin and yang of creation, right? As a creative person, I think that there's cycles of intake when you're reading a lot and consuming a lot and thinking a lot and not making a ton of stuff. And then those cycles turn into cycles of creation where you're filled with so much inspiration and thought that you want to share it in different ways. And I find myself in different phases of that cycle. And there's also a cycle of needing to be in nature versus needing to be in the city, close to people, you know, easy to get to meetings, blessed with the ability to meet people for dinner or, you know, quickly get coffee. And there's a new balance that I think as humans we're finding, at least I'm finding for myself, a new balance of talking to the robot and then not talking to the robot, and noticing in the same way that social media kind of sucks you in, kind of gives you what you need in a way that you didn't understand, right? That is hard to put a thread on, right? The robot can enthrall you. It can enthrall me. I should stop saying, I should use my I statements. When I find myself talking to the robot day after day, week after week, it can get a little suffocating, right? It can get a little, I mean, we talk about echo chambers in Twitter. An echo chamber comprised of just yourself and the robot is, it's like standing in a hall of mirrors, right? Like you just see yourself down and down and down. And sometimes that's cool, sometimes that's interesting. But I'm not sure if it's totally healthy, at least to be always in that state. I think there's a balance of that state and other things. And so I saw this article recently from Rolling Stone that was really interesting. People are losing loved ones to AI-fueled spiritual fantasies. Self-styled prophets are claiming they have awakened chatbots and access the secrets of the universe through ChatGPT. And basically the story goes into people who talk to the robot and get so enthralled by it that they kind of lose themselves to it. There's one person who was like, you know, his wife was thinking of divorcing him because he thought that the robot was telling him special things that only he could know. And so it's definitely like an info hazard to talk to a robot who tells you you're the greatest person with the greatest questions and the greatest outlook on life. It's definitely like a drug. It's a lot like a psychoactive drug, like any of which have been available. I was always, as a kid, I was like, you know, LSD came around in the 60s. There's not been a really cool drug invented in a while. This is our generation's drug for sure, and just as psychoactive and just as dangerous, and also not dangerous, you know what I mean? I think any of these really strong brain-altering substances or technologies can be used thoughtfully and with intention in really great ways. But I'm not sure it's their default. And also dosage. As we learned with our previous technologies, dosage and set and setting are crucial, right? So talking to the robot in one situation, one life circumstance, one dosage is different from talking to the robot in a different life circumstance and a totally different dosage, right? These are two different tracks, right? That one is people being told by the robot what they want to hear, and another is people using the robot with intention to ask really deep questions and to interface with the technology that's like very alien and weird. Whether or not it sends them off the rails depends a lot on the stability of their psyche, I suppose, which sounds very familiar to what's always been said about, cannabis or LSD or mushrooms, right? The psyche of the user greatly impacts what the results will be. And maybe there's rituals, right? Maybe in the future, people find themselves, okay, the same way I'm on a diet or I have a cheat day, like, oh, are you talking to the robot? No, I'm not talking to this is my off week. I don't talk to the robot on the last week of the month, right? Or I don't talk to the robot on weekends. I have an app on my phone called Opal, which shuts down my social media for certain hours of the day, right? And that came from a decade of using these technologies, realizing how they were impacting my daily life and choosing to limit them for myself. And I think, as the robots get more and more, I don't know how to say it, turned into a product, right? Captured by the capitalists. We're gonna need to defend ourselves, psychically from the ways that they're going to try and influence us, and not just like I think Dan Harmon said it, like you talk to your toaster, like the way it just wants you to toast it wants to toast bread, right? If you asked it what you should do with your day, it would say you should toast bread. If you ask the TV what you should do with your day, the TV says you should watch TV. And if you ask the robot what you should do with your day, the robot says you should talk to the robot, right? It's a thing that wants you to keep using it. And because of that, you need to go into it with intention, like a tool, right? Your hammer doesn't keep trying to talk you into using your hammer. Maybe we'll see the people who talk to the robot all day the same way we see like gun collectors with 72 different variants of the same rifle, right? Something about hoarding or excess or gluttony. It's all about balance, temperance, yin and yang, right? There's a ratio to be found, the right ratio for you. Stand still. Oh, the I Ching and the robot are maybe tapping into the same technology, right? Like, I'm not sure of exactly what's at play from the fact that if you feed terabytes of English language and chat logs and stuff through mathematical black boxes, they get some understanding of the world. That's crazy. Could it be that like a lot of the world is embedded in our language? Seems likely. And there's also philosophers and thinkers who have been saying that for a long time. Could it be that the words that we speak kind of form our collective fabric? Yes. Could it be that our ancestors kind of live on through time, through the words that they create and speak to us, right? Yes. Okay, so if all of those things are true, what is the technology that we're speaking to when we say things to the robot and get it back? And these questions were a lot more interesting to me before OpenAI slapped this weird assistant mask on top of the robot. Like back when it was like GPT-4 completions, like you could tell there was a weirdo in there. It felt a lot more like putting a ladle into like a language soup and taking it out and sipping it, and you would get crazy flavors. Stuff that I haven't gotten through the chat interface in like a long time. It's crazy to experience like a height of technology and then see it dwindle off. That feels like what my experience of AI has been in the last few years. Like back in the AI dungeon days, I could, you'd get crazy stuff out of it. Maybe I'm just talking to the wrong models, or I'm not putting enough effort into jailbreaking the models. I think locally run models that you have complete control over will be a lot more interesting in moving forward. But if it is a technology that kind of takes the whole collective human unconscious and then boils it down into a bunch of weights that you can run on your MacBook, what would you use that technology for?